And here we're going to start at the portfolio level. And at the portfolio level, you can see that you can organize your portfolio by therapeutic area, asset, indication, but these are highly configurable. So what are the right words for you? Is it disease area? Is it maybe molecule? Maybe you just want to go right into indication. So this level or structure, easily configurable, and then you can sort of drill down, hey, I want to go check out my therapeutic area, look at my assets here. Or maybe I want to go, okay, each assets, I've got a variety of indications that roll up into that. And then here you can see we have our program. And this is where you start doing your project management. So this is your sort of portfolio view. And you can also visualize it in a roadmap. So I click on roadmap over here, and you can see that I can see it by therapeutic area, my roadmap. I can look at it by dev stage. So I can see, hey, what do I have in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, or maybe I want to organize it by asset. So you can look at your roadmap that way. So very nice way to visualize or share or look at your portfolio. And you can also sort of hover over a particular milestone, and it does roll that milestones in here. And here you can see I've got study startup ready to go. So that's a very nice thing to be able to do. Speaking of the portfolio, we're going to talk about portfolio prioritization just for a second here. So again, all within the same tool, we can start looking at this, and typically a different audience than your project management audience. Senior executives or leadership like to come in and say, wait, this is our program. Maybe we want to start looking at the priorities, and you can do this. A lot of times we do this by tying a program to strategic goals, and those strategic goals or strategic objectives are broken down into business drivers. So a business driver might be, hey, is this going to, is it mission growth? Do we have mission growth potential? Do we have competitive differentiation? What's the market risk? What's the strategic alignment? And so these business drivers can be easily configured based on your needs. So you want to configure this easily to set up. So one of the nice things you can do that, and then you can have scoring, a scoring system. So if I come in here and say, hey, this really isn't low, this is moderate. So this gives a place to come in here and allows your leadership to come in here and really take the subjectivity out of ranking your projects and trying to be more objective. And as you change these scores, you can see the scores over here change, and then you can sort of, I'm going to sort by ranking, and now you have a really good tool to help you rank that. And just because one gets a higher strategic value doesn't mean that it's going to be your number one priority. So we also have a prioritization tool that allows you to move projects up and down. Of course, the prioritization score should help you with that, but just because this one has a higher score, maybe it's still number 2 because we have to do it or for whatever reason. So you've got a couple of prioritization tools to help you with that. And then once you get that going, you can start doing what if scenarios and scenario planning. And you can do that by looking at timing constraints, resource constraints, and financial constraints. So for example, if I want to look at my resource constraints, I can load up my resource plans and see how my resource loading is looking across this portfolio. And you can see I've got some red going on here. And by the way, you can look at this in hours, or you can look at this in % complete or FTEs, whatever your preference is. You can also change this format. Maybe you don't want to look at it by month. Maybe you want to look at it by quarter, and last year, this year, next 5 years, that kind of stuff. So you can apply it by quarter. And you can see here that I can look at my quarterly needs for my resources and see that I have some red. And then you can load up your Gantt chart. And you might want to change this from quarter to year as well. And you can start sliding things around. So if what if I delay this program over here and I move it out to 2023? Is that going to help us with our red? So you can start saving scenarios. Oh yeah, look, we got rid of the red for me. That's great. And I can save the scenario. Like I have a base case now, I can call this my, worst case or whatever, or scenario delay project or whatever. And then when you're sharing it with leadership, you can already have these scenarios pre-built and say, hey, this is scenario 1, this is scenario 2, this is scenario 3. You can do the same thing with finance. I can click on finance, and I can look at my numbers here financially, and I can look at actuals, or I can look at budget. And again, you can change whatever you want. I'll show you apply a quarter. Here you can see that we've got our quarter, and we've got, our period total for 2021 is 119 million. And like say, you know what, maybe our target is only $100 million. And you can see we were over budget in Q3 and Q4. So again, you come here and say, what if I move this program out to 2023. Does that get rid of it? Yes. Again, same thing. You can save your scenarios and have that scenario to go. So, you can use targets and so forth. So you've got all these great tools to utilize and turn on or off as you need to help you manage your portfolio and make better decisions. So I really like that concept. And then again, you can go back to your list here, and I'm going to switch back to my summary with dev stage, and just to be able to visualize my portfolio properly. And again, you can drill down into and here you can see I've got my programs, and I'm going to actually drill into a program now, because now you got to get into the project management piece. Like, how are we going to manage the phases, tasks, and milestones? And so you can come in here, drill into a project, and start looking at the details of a project. So here you can see I've got program T1B organized by program development stage and all the different development stages. And I've got it organized by functional plan, and maybe the functional plans lead up into the integrate into the development stage. So you have a choice. You can, a lot of the organizations I work with manage their programs by subteams, CMC, non-clinical, clinical, but they're going through different development stages. So people want to see, by both. I want to see by functional area and by functional and by development stage. And here you can take full advantage of all the task management stuff. So if I drill into, say, development stage 2, for example, and I click on clinical, and I click on a study, and I want to come in here and add a new task or rename a task, I just click on see it. Maybe you need to select a CRO or something like that. You can just sort of come in here and start doing task management. You can put in a duration. Oh, I need maybe you need 2 months, or maybe you just want to put in 20 days, and then you can link it to other tasks. You can just highlight and link, and you can highlight all these together and link them together, or you can have the links be driven from below. So you can use the predecessor column here and do all that kind of stuff. And if you want to light up your Gantt chart, you can. If you look down, so all that task management's available to you. So very easy to do this. You've got your linking tools, your indenting, outdenting, just very fundamentally important things that you need to do to manage your schedule, but not so much that it's overwhelming. So easy to use project scheduling tool. You can turn your Gantt chart on, and you can see how things are being managed in your Gantt chart. And if I click on clinical and I click into this, this study, and you can change your time scale here to whatever you want. Here I've got it probably a bit too big, so I'm going to shrink this down a little bit. And I can go to study startup and see what my startup activities look like. So you've got your basic Gantt chart stuff going on. Maybe I'll shrink that down just a little bit more so you can see all the activities. So yeah, you can do your Gantt charting here. You can set up your links and so forth. So all that basic stuff is available to you directly in OnePlan, really without having to use any other scheduling tools. But we all know that people like to use different tools. So you can manage the same sort of thing in Microsoft Project. So here I've got a Microsoft project plan, same concept. You don't have to have the development stages. You can just focus on your functional areas. You don't have to have the functional areas. You can just focus on your development stages. But here we got sort of a hybrid of both. And I come into clinical, and I can see I've got a bunch of studies in here that I'm managing, phase 1, some phase 2, phase 3 studies. And you can take full advantage of all the features and functions that Microsoft Project has to offer. And that project would simply reside in the portfolio center inside of OnePlan. So here you can see I've got these functional teams down here, and of course you can light it up and see it by development stage. So here's by development stage, and if I just click on expand all subtasks, you can see I've got lead candidate selection, I've got development stage 1, development stage 2. Here I can even roll up some milestones. So this might be last subject in, last patient in, whatever this one might be your clinical study report. Anyways, it's kind of nice to be able to do that. So you can manage your project details in OnePlan, or you can use other tools. You can even use Planner or Modern Project for the web. So you give the flexibility for people to use other tools, and that pulls it all into one place. So when you look at your portfolio here, and if I go back to that prioritization list, for example, just to show you, there's an example in here where you see down here, this is actually an inserted project from Microsoft Project Professional. So you have your choice, and the indicator will tell you where that project is actually being managed. But it pulls the data in so you can look at it. So that's kind of nice. And again, you can have these custom views. You can set up custom views so you can look at the project information the way you want to. All these fields are configurable, easy to turn things on or off, columns on or off. You can have personal views. You can have ones that are enterprise across the organization. And again, drill into the details of a project. Boom, you've got it right there. So your portfolio and your task management's all in one place. Speaking of details, when you're in a project, there's more than just a timeline. You can have metadata associated with that in this details area. And this is highly configurable, and you can have as much detail as you want. So here we have some indication information, what's it all about? And then you have some, drivers and financial information, and then you have some status information and so forth. So these detail pages are highly configurable. So is this process across the stop. If you want to use different terminology, like maybe you want to use stage 0, stage 1, stage 2, whatever you want, this is all there for you to configure. The idea, the end user doesn't do it, but for anybody that's using the system, it's super easy to configure. So that's good news. You can also do your resource plan at a project level or task level. So in here, if I click on resource plan, this allows me to organize my resources that I need for this project. So I can come in here and I can easily add resources, or I can say, Robert's not working 84 hours on that. Maybe he just needs to work like, 20 hours that month. So you can change and load up your resources here. You can, one of the nice things I like about this tool is you can look at, okay, before I start, messing with Robert's assignment, maybe I want to see what else he's working on. So here you can see I've got, hey, these are all the other programs that Robert's working on. Maybe he doesn't have enough time to work on my project. So you got the ability to look at your enterprise resource pool, not just for one project, but across the entire portfolio. So before you even start assigning them, you can see if they're even available. So that's kind of nice to be able to do that kind of stuff. You can also do financials in here if you want. Again, it's very modularized. So if you're not using that piece, we just don't turn it on, and you don't load up the financial piece. But it's here, and you can look at budget, you can look at actuals, you can compare budget to actuals if you want to, and that kind of stuff. So it's got all of that capability in there for you to take full advantage. So you got your details, your financials, your work plan is really your timeline. So if you click on timeline, you've got your timeline there. All really good, powerful stuff that will allow you to do that. Speaking of resource management, won't spend a lot of time on this today, but we can always take deeper dives into it. If you want to manage resources, you can use OnePlan to help do that. And it can, like, again, it'll put all the resource assignments in across the entire portfolio. And here you can see I've got my resources. I've got generic resources and named resources. I can easily group this by department. So if I want to say, hey, I've got CMC, I've got clinical, I've got non-clinical, I've got regulatory, I can look at this FTE, I can look at it by percentage, I can look at it by hours, which is very nice to be able to flip back and forth like that. Again, you can group by role. So if you want to look at the role, so you can see, hey, I've got program lead here, and if I expand that, oh, I got Eric, and I've got my program lead, and I can say, oh, what, now that maybe you started off with a generic resource for that project, and now I want to move that up to Eric and assign that. So you can use this tool to click and drag. Oh, Eric's red. Maybe I should assign that to somebody else, and so you can click and drag these assignments across multiple resources. So very nice tool for resource management and seeing, where you're over allocated and under allocated by project. So very easy to use. Another nice thing, again, won't spend a lot of time, but we certainly can take deep dives into any area that you would like to, is the scheduling tool. And the scheduling tool allows you to come in here and look at how is the timing of these assignments, and look at, like, for example, if I click on program lead, I can see that I've got, Eric, I've got this program lead here. We might say, hey, what if I move this out? And you can start rescheduling things to see if you can resolve some of these conflicts and see what happens, or I can assign these to other people. So the scheduling tool is very nice to look at the timing of the assignments and so forth. So that kind of gives you an idea. You can manage your portfolio, you can drill in to see the tasks, you can do really effective resource management, you can do really effective scheduling. Then, it's a very collaborative tool as well, and very effective at managing your work or what you're working on. So you can get into, if I want to, I can click on this home button, which shows me the insights for Robert Happy, and I can say, hey, what's going on with me? well, these are all the things I've attacked, these are the things that are overdue, these are the things that are due this week. I can click over here and say overdue. I can literally click on this and mark it done, and it will automatically update the project schedule. You can also put in an approval cycle, so it has to be approved before it updates the project schedule. Or what plans do I own? I click on my plans here. I can click over here, and if I want to go right to my schedule, I can. If I want to go to my resource plan, I can. I can see recent conversations. I can also look at a team sort of task updating area where you can mark tasks done here, and you can configure this stuff really easily. You can come in here and you can add columns. We can configure it so it shows up with different things. But you want to keep it as simple as possible, because this would be sort of the team member interface. And you can look at overdue tasks that are coming up soon, tasks that are later. So you've got that ability to do that right in here. This also works really good in Teams. So if I go over to Teams, you can see that I'm in Microsoft Teams. I'm looking at the same thing, even from, hey, I don't even have to leave Teams, and I can start marking tasks done directly in Teams. So nice seamless interface into Teams. You can have it as a tab across the top, or you can even attach it as an app, so it's always here. So really seamless integration into Teams. So you've got all this great collaboration at the task level, at the portfolio level, and it kind of marries up the two quite nicely. From there, you can, here we're saying you can, organize this structure level, therapeutic area, asset. This is highly configurable, of course, but you can also manage goals, and you can either add them into the same group, or you can create another group for goal tracking. And so just to show you, you can manage your goals in here. Same concept, except my goal portfolio is going to be managed. This is just a roadmap of my goals. So I'm going to click on list, and it's going to show me all my goals. So you can, associate a program name. Again, you can configure your drop-down list. So if you click on stage, these don't have to be these names. This could be phase 1, 2, and 3. But this goal, responsible for, it's a stage 1 goal. It's an IND submission. I can click on that and see, hey, I've got some key results that are key activities that roll up into that goal. I can even click on this goal itself and look at the details of that goal. Right? So that's kind of nice. And again, highly configurable, these based on what your needs are. So you can manage the portfolio of your goals. You can even look at a board. So if you want to see the board of your goals, and it's kind of nice, you can see, okay, these are my goals, and these are how they're organized, and you can move them around if you want. But it's nice to look at a board. Again, the roadmap's there if you want to look at the roadmap. But as fun is the dashboard component. So you can create really powerful dashboards and views. Here we're actually taking advantage of Power BI at this point, but it's pulling all the data from the data set from your OnePlan portfolio center, if you will. And if I want to, I can click on, hey, show me all my high priority goals. I can show, maybe I want to just focus on my regulatory high priority goals, or maybe you want to focus on all my regulatory goals or my status. So you've got that going for you. You can click on, something called objectives progress. So I click on that, and you can say, what are the progress on these objectives? Oh, look, I've got a nice little roadmap of how we're doing on each one of these goals, or by business unit and so forth. So you've got a nice ability to do goal tracking and visualize those goals and take advantage of how you want to manage your corporate goals, your program goals, your quarterly goals, or your OKRs. And it's nice to have it all in one place. Speaking of visualization, you can also visualize this data really nicely. I can go to dashboard, and again, we're taking advantage of Power BI at this point. And then here, one of the nice things that we've spent a lot of time on putting these reports together. So we've got an array of reports that are already configured, ready to go, that you can choose from. If I want to click on project details, for example, this kind of shows me completed milestones, upcoming milestones, overdue task, risk, issue, highly configurable. It's kind of like a vanilla report, not very colorful. But we do have a very robust set of PM Pharma Biotech report pack. So we have resources, we have report packs, so you can peruse and choose which one might be right for you. Always better to start from an existing report and template than from scratch if you can. Here's just a project status page. The idea here is you get one page of a status per program or per project. So you get some metadata across the top, you got some graphical indicators, risks, issues, key activities, and if you're tracking financials, you can. Here's just another example of a project status page. This is sort of one per project. We have portfolio views as well. This one might be a little bit focused on work and costs and, upcoming. So if you're not tracking work or costs, maybe not so critical. Here's one for key study milestones, for example. You can look at, hey, I want to see all my, study milestones. Here you have database lock, clinical study report, first subject in, first subject screen, all that kind of stuff. And then a status, and this is your study number. You can choose which program you want to filter on. All very interactive type of reporting. You can look at your portfolio dashboard if you want of all your things. If maybe I just want to focus on this one program, it shows me activities just around that one program. You can zero in on a functional area. Maybe you want to focus in on all submissions for regulatory. And we all know very important kind of thing. And here you can say, these are all my submissions for regulatory. Maybe you don't want to, focus on all. Maybe you just want to focus on a country specific, or maybe you want to focus in on a region. Or maybe you want to focus in, hey, what's going on with, not all of them, but what submissions do I have with this program or this program? And so you can turn them on and off and see, or you can use this filter across the top and say, hey, what's going on? Oh, by the way, you can switch this to quarter. Anyways, all these reports are very interactive. Maybe I just want to focus in on our MAs, or maybe I want to focus in on my meetings, what meetings we have, or you can even have a PM dashboard, for example. So here I've got a dashboard, and hey, maybe I just want to, hey, where are we focusing this PMP 100 program? And you can light it up over here in a map. You can see some information, all highly configurable, of course, and you got all these filters across the top. Here's another good one, solve an important problem for document reviews, because we all know that these get hung up, and maybe you want to be able to say, hey, this is our process. You can see that document 1 could be module 1, or document 1 could be a briefing book, right? You have a team review, a draft, a senior management review, and then you publish and all that kind of stuff. Maybe we know that senior management reviews sometimes can be a bottleneck, so I just want to focus in on senior management reviews, so you can see, hey, these are all the senior management reviews that are coming up across our portfolio.